Just a quick follow-up on genetic diagram and Punnett squares from yesterday's lesson. Just a quick recap for the question that we have done yesterday. Always start off a genetic diagram by stating the legend, okay, to describe which is the dominant allele and which is the recessive allele before you proceed on to draw the entire genetic diagram out based on the structure over here. It is very important to follow 100% of this structure. Usually it's not provided in the question, so you have to draw out the entire table before illustrating what happens during random fertilization to give rise to the various genotype and phenotype among the offspring before you end off with the ratio at the end of the question. I'll continue with another example below. So in the first round of breeding, two purebreds, recall, right? What are purebred organisms? So two purebred plants were crossed together to give rise to four tall hybrids. All right, so all the offsprings here are hybrids, as they each have one dominant allele and one recessive allele. They are not pure in nature. So what would happen if we take two of this hybrid and cross it together in the next example over here? Okay, so before you start off the question, always draw out the table first. All right, I know this is tedious, but it takes a while and practice to memorize every single role required for the genetic diagram. So always start off with the structure first. You always illustrate the parents' phenotype. So in this question, all right, both are tall in nature, all right, the hybrids. Okay, we put a cross to show that they are being bred together, and then we illustrate the parents' genotype next. They are heterozygous, so they have one dominant allele and one recessive allele. Likewise, we put a cross to show that they are being crossed. And then next, we illustrate the parents' gametes. Okay, so each circle represents one sex cell. All right, so in random fertilization, one male and one female sex cells will fuse together. In particular, the nucleus will fuse together to give you, all right, the offsprings. Okay, so we show how we come up with the different combination of genotype. This time round, we are illustrating the F2 generation. So it's the F2 genotype. Okay, so we'll show the random crossbreed. All right, so one from the father, one from the mother. So the first possible genotype that you will obtain is a homozygous dominant. All right, the second would be a heterozygous. The third would also be a heterozygous over here, and then the last one would be a homozygous recessive. All right, so we will have to illustrate the phenotype as well. Okay, the first one is a tall plant. Second and third is also a tall plant, but the last one is a dwarf plant. Don't forget to end off with the ratio as well. Alright, so you can either start off with the phenotypic or the genotypic ratio. As long as you write down both in your question, you are right. So we have 3 tall and 1 dwarf plant over here. And then the genotype ratio that you will get, okay, genotypic, right, is actually 1 homozygous dominant, 2 heterozygous, and 1 homozygous recessive. Okay, all right, so this is how it should look like in your question. All right, something I missed out at the top, always start off with a legend. So remember to include it at the top over here to tell, all right, which is the dominant allele, which is the recessive allele. So in this question, big T represent the dominant allele for tall plant, and then let small t be the recessive allele for dwarf plant. Okay, so this was the question that I asked you to write on the last page yesterday, but I ended off quite haphazardly. So here is a video to recap what we have done yesterday. Alright, so I hope this is clear. I've given quite a number of practice in the worksheet, so really memorize the structure over here to remember, alright, without reference to your notes. Okay, so I'll do a few more videos to show you the other examples as well.